So welcome back. My guest for the first part is Kofi Asare, who is with the Africa Education Watch. Kofi, good to have you. Good evening.
Hi. Good evening, and good evening to your cherished audience.
It seems to me as if the Africa Education Watch is now the leading education think tank in Ghana, correct?
Well, there are very few think tanks in education. We have about 2 or 3. Yeah.
It's not a profitable sector, or people are tired?
Well, it's quite a critical sector, and most of the NGOs in the education space prioritize service delivery than
advocacy policy.
Even within advocacy, think tank business is much more aggressive, and much more technical when it comes to policy analysis and high-level engagement and all that, policy influencing, so to speak. And so, very few are involved in policy influencing, but hopefully.
How important is policy influence? Because some people feel education is fixed, but you can also say because of what's happened with the past 8 years, free SHS, and the way education has become very political, the advocacy work is more important. What are your thoughts?
Well, advocacy, yes, it's always important because you must advocate to influence policies, practices, in favor of the broad goal of SDG 4, inclusive quality education for all by 2030, and also in favor of all the national education frameworks, medium, long term. But you see, advocacy is not just policy influencing. In Ghana, 99% of advocacy is actually around policy participation, awareness creation, popular mobilization, and then media engagement and all that. But policy influencing is quite new in Ghana, and with policy influencing, you need to have you need to establish a relationship with the political class. Okay, in Ghana, we are talking about both the MPP and then the NDC. You need to establish a relationship with them, and within the context of that relationship, build, capital that will enable you to influence their plans for education. Most times, even before they become a government. So you find that we are engaging political parties, we are engaging them by influencing their manifestos, and then when they transition into government, we are engaging them on how to transition promises into policies in a manner that is equitable, that is inclusive, that is economical, etc., etc., etc. So our work is more of lobbying, more of building relationships and then influencing policies and plans, not only the executive, but also within the legislature.
So when you were invited to be part of the committee to review the educational sector, this was naturally something you would be happy to be part of, irrespective of which government it was, correct?
Yes, because we started working with the NDC Manifesto Committee in 2020, the old Manifesto Committee in 2020, ahead of that particular election, and we started working with the NDC Education and MPP Education Manifesto, same around that time. And so there's a history of our engagement with the new government as far back as 2020 when they were doing that manifesto for that year. And the manifesto for that year didn't change significantly from what was presented in 2024. And so there was a relationship already built with the members of the committee, most of whom were not changed. And then also there was an established relationship by virtue of our policy influencing strategy working with the executive. We had a lot of relationships and influences within the NDC Education Caucus in Parliament, working with APAC and
Peter Notu,
all those honorable members of Parliament. We've been working with since 2000,
I see.
On the Select Committee on Education. And so there was a relationship,
So you were part of this, was it 7-member committee that reviewed the educational sector?
8-member committee.
8-member committee.
Yes.
Finished your work?
Yes, we completed our work about a month ago. The report was submitted to His Excellency, the President, about 3 weeks, if not a month ago. We are waiting for the government to issue a white paper or issue directives on the next steps. And so, as you are aware, the report is not yet in the public domain because it is now within the bosom of the executive.
I see. So we will come to that when so basically they'll issue a white paper and then we know whether they accept your work or not.
Yeah, well, we are not too sure what the approach towards acceptance and implementation would be. Whether it will follow the white paper approach where the white paper will either validate or, if you like, focus on the aspect that they disagree, which is likely to be less, so that the report is implemented with the proviso that the disagreement, there is some disagreement on ABC. Or it will be a white paper that simply says that, well, these are the areas we agree with you, and so let's move to implementation. But we are supposed to, as part of our mandate, not only put together that report, but also develop an action plan. And so we have not been able to move to the action plan stage because we are yet to receive a formal response from the executive in respect of the recommendations made in that report.
We will not go into all the details because you are not the spokesperson for the committee, and so we respect the process. But I think the big issue this week has been the teacher licensure exams. I think it was announced that this round will be the last, suggesting that the government is going to phase it out. They don't want the licensure exam again. Before we get, why has it been so controversial, this issue of the licensure exam?
The licensure examination has been controversial because almost every big-ticket education policy issue in Ghana has been politicized since the introduction of free senior high school. The second reason why it has been politicized is because there are many student teachers who are not happy with the licensure regime, because the regime was failing about 30% on average of student teachers that wrote the examination in a particular year. So they were expecting that since the MPP government introduced the licensure full scale, a new political authority, would be the best to review the licensure.
So the teachers never agree with the exam?
The student teachers had issues with the examination because of the high failure rates and also because of the inconvenience in writing an examination almost 1 year after you have completed school. Because according to the law, you are supposed to write the licensure after completing the program of study leading to the award of your bachelor's degree. And by completing, it means that you should have your certificate, you should have graduated. And so you go to school, you complete school, you come and stay home for a couple of months, and then you are a bit disconnected, and then you are now supposed to go and write the license examination. So there were issues with that, and then other issues in respect of the alignment of the questioning parameters to the national teaching standards and then the curriculum, and also there were issues relating to if you like, the paper-based, or some also say theory-based assessment vis-a-vis the practical aspect of teaching, which they thought was important, and a lot more other issues. So some who were not happy with the system thought that the best way to have it reviewed would be under a new government. So when the NDC government was in opposition and they were campaigning, the president went around the country, engaged teachers especially, extensively, because they had lots of promises in the education sector. So one of the concerns that emerged from those consultations, was the need to review the licensure. So that's why perhaps, yes, even though there are concerns, the reform leading to those concerns being addressed have been quite grounded in politics. So
NAGRAT said that this was a good decision because they've been saying that they didn't see the purpose of the exam. Did the committee that reviewed the sector recommend that it be phased out as well?
No, it's important for me to state this, that the review of the licensure started last year.
Okay.
Last year, somewhere mid-last year, Honorable Educhum put together a committee chaired by his deputy minister, comprising other members, including the reps from the College of Education. My very good friend, Professor Atin Tonu, Accra College of Education principal, was part of the committee, with the aim of reviewing the licensure to address some of these challenges, including the possibility of integrating it within the tertiary education system, the teacher education system, so that you don't finish school, come home, and write it after. Okay. Now, the committee presented this report. Among others, it wasn't impossible. Okay, it wasn't an issue And they thought that it was possible to integrate it. So I want to see the work of this committee that the minister established as building upon the reform progress or reform proposals that were made, but were not implemented, you know, in the past administration. And building upon is good for policy development, because in implementing policies, you don't just, you know, you just don't bring new ideas from nowhere, but I try and build upon from the lessons from policy implementation. And so the recommendations of this particular committee includes, among others, integrating the licensure examination at the faculty level, such that if I'm writing my final semester examination, if I finish today, the next day or so, I write my licensure, so that there's no disconnect between me going home after 6 months, I graduate, get my certificate before I go and write the licensure. You understand? So that is one of the recommendations.
Okay.
But that aligns with the practice in the health sector.
Okay.
That's how the nurses do this. And so
it's one exam or one sitting?
Yes, okay, it's one sitting, but not one exam, because
of course, different
still
levels,
it is the same National Teaching Council that will come and administer the license in your school.
Correct.
It's the same licensing body, the regulator. That will
but
come
it's
in.
exam period, so at least you know you are writing
and you are
all
in
your exams.
So there's no break.
Yes.
There's no 6-month break. You are in school. Good. The second proposal I am told that has been made by the committee is that in determining the scoring for the licensor, a significant portion of the scoring should come from practical assessment. That is what they call practicum, where teachers teaching practice. Then they are observed and graded by their supervisors, etc., including the National Teaching Council. In which case, it will mean that the so-called theoretical base or the paper-based examination will now be augmented with a practical assessment, which could take as much as 30% of the 100% scores assigned to the license examination. Right. So these are the two major reforms likely to happen as part of government efforts to move the licensure to the faculty or to the college. So if you look at it critically, licensure hasn't been abolished. The Ghana Teacher License, GTLE, the Ghana Teacher License Examination, will take place, but it will take place at the faculty or at the college level. And it will still be administered by the National Teaching Council. If a student teacher fails that paper, they will not be licensed. And so it is still very relevant. And for me, we need it for quality assurance. If we abolish that particular examination conducted by that external body, we will be admitting many people whom I reviewed their scripts personally, who couldn't put together a sentence in English. They will be admitting them, all of them, in our classroom, and that will be disaster. So we need licensure. The fact that it is conducted by an independent body and not the faculty or the university, critical. It is very, very important.
So it will still remain that way, just that the time is going to be the same.
And then there will be the practical,
wonderful.
The practical assessment.
The other issue has been scholarships. This week, some Ghanaian students abroad reached out to us on air saying that they risk dismissal, deportation for not paying their fees. Now, in the course of that discussion, we interviewed Peter Nochukotoi, who is the chair of the Education Committee, who says one of the reasons why they have had to take a look at the scholarship secretariat to come up with a new bill is some of these issues. So they're basically linking the bottlenecks in remitting students to the fact that the secretariat has not been set up well and scholarship registration has been poor. So that's the link he gave. What I want you to tell me is, are those two necessarily connected? That's number one. Number two, if the scholarship secretariat should change, is what is being proposed in the bill the way to go? So let's answer question one. The fact that almost every year people are on scholarship, they don't get paid, they are deported, they are dismissed. Is it because of the way the secretariat has been set up?
The poor management of the disbursements of scholarship stipends to foreign scholarship beneficiaries may be a function of one or two or more deficits in scholarship administration in Ghana.
Okay.
The institutional framework may be one, but I don't think that will be the key reason. The key reason is budgeting.
Budgeting?
Yeah, because there's a budget with very, very poor or very, very low level of budget credibility. There's a budget allocated, but releases are slow. And so it's not a priority for budget. I'm not talking about budget approval, I'm talking about budget credibility.
Yeah.
So budget execution is very, very low. There's delays. And so that's the main thing. If the agency exists under the office of the president and it's a priority, releases will be expedited in line with their cash flow requirement. But if it's not a priority, it can be under any ministry.
Okay.
It will still suffer the same inertia when it comes to release of funds that have been approved in the budget.
That is fair. But beyond this latest round of disbursement issues, generally, there are people who believe the scholarship secretariat is not fit for purpose because scholarship administration does not tend to benefit the real intended people. That's the view, whether it's Cocoa Board or other scholarships. There's a view that the way the secretariat is set up, only political people and their cronies get the scholarships. And they trace that to the way the secretariat and the administrative arrangement around it. Do you agree?
Of course, that's right. The public scholarship system is not designed to serve the members of the public who require the scholarships. It is designed to serve the political elites. That's why it was put under the office of the president. It should have been under the education ministry long ago. And so it runs strictly under an opaque system. I mean, opacity is one of the key canons in scholarship administration in Ghana. Before you get information about how scholarships are awarded, I'm talking criteria, beneficiaries, it will take an arm and a leg, sometimes a year, before the scholarship secretariat will respond to an RTI. Last year, we submitted 3 RTIs or so to the scholarship secretariat between 2023 and 2024. None of them was responded to. And so you would agree that, yes, it is always airtight because it is seen as a cult, for very few people. And that is obviously not a responsive public scholarship scheme.
Okay.
We have so many global best practices, to learn from if we really want to make our scholarship system responsive to the needs of the people. If we want to build a scholarship system based on a meritocracy, then we have so many examples to learn from.
I have seen a memorandum you sent to the Ministry of Education on 11th of April this year, asking for scholarship reform under 10 basic proposals. I have also seen the draft bill that Mr. Nochukoto is telling me will be laid before the Parliament this week. Is what they are doing what you are proposing?
I have had opportunity. I was excited when I heard that the bill had been drafted and was going for first reading. Okay. I was excited because it was the first step in trying to build an institution for managing public scholarships in Ghana. That's the first thing, to have a legal framework and an institutional framework. We've not had same since 1940s or 50s or 60s, when the scholarship secretariat was established by Kwame Nkrumah. Second is that I thought that, as promised by the NDC administration, we were going to put in place a legislation to end the cronyism and the politicized distribution of scholarships. So that was a great, promise to support. And so I was happy that the bill was laid. Having reviewed the bill, I reviewed the bill today. Having reviewed the bill and then our proposals, I see that the two are in abeyance. Yes. What we as civil society organizations have envisaged for Ghana in line with global best practice, the public scholarship system, one, that harmonizes all public scholarship programs under one authority. Whether it is GMPC, whether it is Cocoa Board, whether it is Get Fund.
Once it's
public, under one authority.
Scholarship authority.
Exactly. And then two, you provide that authority with the legal and institutional framework to work and report to Parliament, subject themselves to the authority of the Auditor General and other horizontal accountability institutions. Third, that the authority remains an authority. They are not an implementing body, but then they award scholarships through the faculties so that the merit-based system is led by the universities, our tertiary institutions, or the faculties, annually we'll call them that way.
Yeah.
In that case, the authority is now a regulatory body responsible for ensuring that in line with standards, guidelines established by the authority and its board, our faculties are conforming in distributing or in awarding scholarships. So they ensure that there's quality assurance. There is compliance. That is the global best practice. If you want to go to Harvard, if you want to go to any university in the UK, you apply for scholarships in the school. You don't apply for scholarship to a scholarship authority. But there's an authority that ensures that the scholarship administration is in line with law and regulation. So we thought that since this is the global best practice in public scholarship administration, we were going to have a sort of a scholarship authority that is a regulator and allow the faculties to determine who qualifies based on merit.
But what they are proposing, what are they proposing?
What is being proposed is a scholarships authority, which is a net implementer of scholarships. The public scholarship authority will determine who gets scholarships. The biggest issue about scholarships is who gets scholarship. Forget about the whole bill. It's about who gets scholarship. So the biggest issue is who determines who gets scholarship. And this bill is simply saying that it is the same executive that is determining same that will do same under this bill, because there will be a board comprising ministers, the executive. I think there's only one from industry. The rest are primarily the executive and their representatives. And then they will do the application review and then determine beneficiaries. The board is still the executive. You understand? So you don't even see the tertiary institutions in there. Okay. Now, when this happens, you still have the executive. The Minister of Foreign Affairs is there, Attorney General is there, Education Minister is there.
So this is really not different.
It's not too different
from what was there. Just the creation of an authority.
No,
operationally is the same.
It will be the same because the executive are leading, either directly or indirectly, by appointing those who are responsible for determining beneficiaries. If we want to promote a merit-based scholarship administration system and regime, it starts with decoupling the executive, the political class, from the decisions that go into determining who benefits.
So the authority oversees the universities, and the authority is accountable to Parliament, and the decentralization of the award is at the university level.
Exactly.
This is what you're asking for.
Exactly. Let me tell you the good thing about that. You see, global best practice again. It is global best practice that the public's money in Ghana would primarily be used to finance scholarship for Ghanaians in Ghanaian universities.
Okay.
You understand? And so it is rare, and it's normally an exception, that a Ghanaian will be awarded scholarship funded from the taxpayer to pursue a program that is being run by an accredited public institution in Ghana abroad. Good. And so if you have a system where the faculties are the ones determining who gets a scholarship, automatically you are putting your taxes in the faculties in Ghana. You will not be giving someone a scholarship to go and learn BSc nursing in America.
So that will solve that problem too?
That will solve that problem too, because the institutions determining beneficiaries of scholarships are institutions that have already awarded scholarships, admissions to the beneficiaries or the women.
And if there's a need for the person to go out, they will find a way, because if there's a particular course they need to do, the universities can still recommend.
Of course.
As they do for
go to the medical school.
Yes.
There are many specialties that they are looking for scholarship to send people there.
To go and study and then come and train.
Yes, so still the faculties will determine that.
So your proposal is 2 in 1. It decentralizes, makes it accountable, and also makes it efficient in managing the money.
Because it's you see, our faculties are the ones responsible for training the the top layer of manpower, human capital in Ghana. And so if you want to directly impact human capital development, prior to entering the world of work, it's at the faculty level in Ghana. And so if you are asking the University of Ghana Medical School, for instance, to disburse scholarships to deserving students and determine the areas, it means that they are working closely with industry to produce human capital required in the medical field. And so they are the ones in a better position to determine who gets it and then where the training they require will be available if it is not available in Ghana. But I'm not sure the University of Ghana will recommend that someone should go learn BS economics at LSE when the Department of Economics is there. So that is the benefit of having a scholarship regime where the authority regulates.
So the proposed new scholarship authority bill is not fit for purpose.
As it is now, it is not. It doesn't solve any problem.
Let's deal with the final issue. You've been busy because last week you sent a letter, a memorandum to the Minister for Education on urgent actions to be taken ahead of WASSCE 2025. WASSCE is in 3 weeks. And it seems as if you are arguing that the level of, what's the word to use, exam or practice is becoming alarming, and therefore some urgent things need to be done. I wanted you to explain this before we even deal with your proposal. So what is going on here?
This is WAEC talking. WAEC is saying that in 2018, up to 0.8% of papers were cancelled.
Okay.
Right? That's a malpractice rate of 0.8%, less than 1%. By 2023,
10%.
It has increased to 10%.
Wow.
That's what WAEC is
saying. So
the
level of cheating is going up.
Exactly.
It looks like it's post-COVID.
Yes, and this is unprecedented. We've not seen some anywhere in West Africa.
And 10% of papers cancelled in 2023.
Yes.
Do you know the figure for 2024?
No. I mean, we had to get the data for 2024. And so, but the trend, and this trend is this between 2022 and 2023, for instance, this trend is not informed by leakages. Because papers are not leaking the way they were since the previous government introduced the BNI in the question printing security system. Leakages have been addressed by that. This trend you are seeing between 2022 and 2023 is because of examination room collusion between teachers, some teachers who are invigilators or supervisors, and then some students.
So what are you asking government to do? Immediately, medium term, and then long term? Let's start with immediate.
The Minister of Education has indicated that he is backing the juniors to dismiss teachers who are found capable of participating in
immediately.
Room. Yes. That is a great political backing or statement. But you see, the Genius Code of Conduct doesn't support that. And the Genius is run by its policy. Code of Conduct for its staff says that if a teacher is found participating in examination or practice, it starts with the teacher, for instance, being suspended for 1 month for forfeiture of salary and then also forfeiture of promotion. The dismissal is the last, and it is scarcely applied at the first instance. I know of a teacher who was teaching management and living in a school in the Bono area. We caught him on camera in 2020 or so, dictating answers openly.
Wow.
Reported. By the time we realized in 2022, he was an academic headmaster in that same school. When we complained to the genius that they were promoting more practice by, rewarding participants, they proved to us that he was sanctioned. In fact, he was sanctioned. He was suspended for 1 month.
And he's back working?
Of course. So, the minister's directive can only take effect if the Genius Council
changes their code of conduct.
They amend the code of conduct immediately
to make it an offense to be
dismissal.
And exam is in 3 weeks.
Yes.
So you're saying if you want exam not to, if you want this to happen, in between now and that date, they should make it.
In the next 3 weeks, the Genius Council and the Genius leadership have the luxury of convening to amend the code of conduct.
So that if you are caught colluding or helping a student cheat, you are dismissed outright.
Yes, you are dismissed. If that is the only sanction for participating in malpractice, I'm telling you that it will reduce the appetite for those bad teachers who are encouraged to participate in this particular activity. It will reduce that appetite by about 99%. I'm telling you.
Wow.
Yes.
So is that the most important immediate term thing that needs to be done?
Immediate term thing, the second thing is that, you see, many teachers have integrity. They see what is happening, but they are worried. They can't participate. So they simply distance themselves from vigilation. Because once you enter the vigilation room, if you don't comply, you will be a scapegoat. And these things are normally led by some assistant master academic. Note that there are KPIs for headmasters, which are based on WASSCE pass rates.
So the assistant master academic, they have an interest in students passing.
The headmaster or
by fair or foul means.
Exactly, in some schools. And so you can't be a teacher, enter the room and fail to comply because the KPIs belong to your headmaster. What we can do in the medium term is that the ministry should institute a reward mechanism. Sometimes we call it out of 10 incentives, where if I blow a whistle on malpractice taking place in my school, I'll be rewarded not financially, but then I'll be rewarded with a promotion. If it takes me 3 years to get a promotion, for instance, it can be reduced to 2 years. If we have such a system with the assurance of anonymity for teachers who are willing to blow the whistle and divulge key information leading to the apprehension of the bad nuts who are destroying the...
You're also proposing that the ministry works with the IGP to establish what you call an exam fraud unit at CID.
Because of the inertia in prosecuting malpractice cases.
So beyond dismissal, there must be prosecution?
Yes, prosecution should happen for those that are criminal.
In nature?
Yes. Many of them are criminal, okay? Impersonation, those rogue websites that are selling a poor, many of them are criminal. Where they are criminal, we want to see expedited prosecution, because you see, the prosecution and most importantly, the conviction, timely convictions deter others from participating in this illegal enterprise.
You have said that beyond the short term, the sophistication in today's exam malpractice and fraud has overtaken the relevant WAEC Act, and therefore there needs to be an amendment of the Act?
And this call was made in 2019, 2020, when we met with WAEC and Parliament in Kofi. It's been long overdue. It hasn't been prioritized. The Ministry of Education should prioritize amending the WAEC Act. It has been overtaken by technology and the emerging dynamics in examination malpractice.
Wow.
We are not talking about examination fraud. We've moved from malpractice to fraud. And the law is very, very obsolete when it comes to how sophisticated most of these moves are. And so for the sanctions regime, the legal sanctions regime to bite and bite well and deter well, WAEC's law must be amended to meet the emerging dynamics.
What about security within the exam centers?
CCTV cameras, global best practice, will have to be installed in all examination centers, monitored by external agents. That is basic. If you reduce the human element or the human involvement in invigilation, you move towards solving the problem much more, because the corruption is actually driven by the humans who have interest in it. And so in the long term, in the medium term, you should look at providing CCTV cameras with independent monitoring of the cameras in all schools. This is very basic. Now, almost every CCTV camera in town is solar based, and so it doesn't rely on electricity, and then it's something we can do. The only challenge is that in some of the schools, examination takes place in classrooms, not an examination hall. But we've seen a lot of progress in expanding infrastructure, building examination halls, and all that. And so if we have a plan to do this, I'm sure we can do it, especially in the hotspots, and we know the hotspots. This
is advocacy in action. Kofi, thank you for talking to us. We'll be waiting to see what the government does in 3 weeks.
Yeah, and let me quickly add that
thoughts. Yeah.
CSOs will also be having a conversation on the draft scholarship authority bill. We will be submitting another memorandum to the ministry to consider the focus of this bill and point it more at having a regulatory body that will supervise faculties rather dispensing.
So the advocacy is not over. So whatever happens this week, we should keep an eye open.
We are now starting. It's now gone for first reading. It's a long journey. By the time we finish, I'm sure we should have a bill that is fit for purpose.
Kofi Asare, thank you. This is still the point of view. We've been talking to Kofi Asare. This is our first part of a two-part series for today, discussing 3 critical issues in education. The licensure exam is going to be changed to now become part of the end of academic term or end of final term exam for teachers, and then also scholarship secretariat bill, and then the growing rate of malpractice in exams. When we come back, we sit down with the outgoing British High Commissioner for Ghana, Excellency Harriet Thompson. Her reflections on 4 years in Ghana, the state of Ghana's democracy, the move from aid to trade, and where the future of development cooperation stands. Stay with us.